Not all men are aware of whether or not they have the characteristics of a Sigma male, and some never learn that they do. There's no one-size-fits-all description of what makes a Sigma male, but there are some clear differences between them and other men. From the way they think to how they act, it's easy to tell when a man is a Sigma. Here are 12 unmistakable signs you're a Sigma male. 1. They treat everyone the same, no matter how rich or poor they are. Sigma men don't care about who they are in society or how they look. They treat everyone the same, no matter who they are or what they do. They don't believe in a set order of people and treat everyone the same. They always treat everyone with respect and have a strong sense of fairness and justice. No matter who you are or what you've done, you have something to offer. Their attitude of equality is a nice change from the usual atmosphere of competition and rank that you find in many places. Sigma men don't need to compete or prove themselves. They just want to be judged on their own merits and treated as equals. Even though they don't say much, they have a strong sense of right and wrong and always try to do what's right. 2. They don't talk much about what's going on in their lives. Most Sigma men are very private and don't tell others much about themselves or their lives. They don't like to talk about things because they don't want to be taken advantage of or betrayed. People who know Sigma men well enough to get a look into their lives are often surprised by how thoughtful and sensitive they can be. They like to get to know someone well before they let their guard down, but once they do, they can be great friends. They might not be the most talkative people, but they think a lot and are very wise. Sigma men like to keep to themselves and can often seem distant or hard to get along with. They would rather watch and listen than talk, which makes it hard to get to know them. They may not talk much about themselves, but they are very observant and aware of the world around them. They are better than most people at picking up on subtle cues and social dynamics. 3. They are able to lead, but they don't seek it out. They have all the traits of a great leader, but they don't want to be in charge. Sigma guys would rather stay in the background and watch than take the lead. They could take charge if the situation called for it, but they would rather stay in the background than cheer on those who do well. The Sigma male is more likely to lead by example than by words, and his quiet guidance is often more effective than any words of instruction. He may not be in charge, but he knows where to go and is always willing to help out. Sigma men can be great leaders if they get the chance, but they don't have to look for it. They'd rather work together and see everyone succeed than stand out and get all the credit for themselves. 4. They don't think the same way as the average person. Sigma males are often misunderstood because they think differently than most people. The average person might only see one way to solve a problem, but a Sigma will think of many different ways to solve it. They like seeing things from different points of view, which helps them come up with creative solutions that other people might miss. This way of thinking makes them stand out, but it also has some problems. People who think outside the box may have trouble fitting in with people who don't understand their unique ways of thinking. It's like they're speaking a different language, and not everyone can understand them. When two Sigma personalities meet, they know how each other thinks without having to say it out loud. It's almost as if they have a secret language that only makes sense when they use it. 5. They don't like to be told what to do. Sigma men don't like it when people use their power to tell them what to do. They like being independent and making their own decisions without anyone else's help. Even if someone they trust gives them advice, they don't like it when someone else makes decisions for them. They don't like being told what to do or being told to do something they don't agree with. This doesn't mean Sigma men are rebellious, but they don't follow rules that are useless or old just because everyone else does. They use their own judgment and gut feelings to decide what to do. They would rather question the way things are than just go along with what everyone else does. This often puts them in conflict with people in power, which can cause tension and fights. Even so, they won't change their minds to make someone else happy. Sigmas don't look for trouble, but if they have to, they won't be afraid to stand their ground. They have a strong sense of independence and go their own way, even if that means going against the crowd. 6. They try to stay away from big groups. Large groups can be very exhausting for Sigma men because they are often loud and chaotic. While an alpha might do well in these situations, a Sigma usually prefers to stay out of the way. They don't need to be the center of attention to feel good about themselves, so they often avoid being in large groups. Sigma males would rather go to smaller events where they can get to know people better. They need space to think and reflect, so being in a big group is often too much for them. After going to a big event, they often need some time alone to re-energize. They just don't have as much energy or excitement for big groups as alpha males do. This doesn't mean that Sigmas can't work in these places. It just means that their batteries drain faster than those of alphas. Sigma men might not be the most interesting people at a party, but they can still add a lot to any conversation. In fact, their well-thought-out ideas and unique points of view often add a lot to a conversation. 7. They don't try to hide who they are. They don't apologize for their different ways of thinking or living. They don't feel like they have to explain who they are or why they do things differently than other people. Sigma men don't try to impress others or show off, they just live their lives and are who they are. They don't care what other people think about them and don't try to fit in by being like everyone else. This makes them stand out without them even trying. Sigma men are happy with who they are and don't try to be someone else. They know that not everyone will agree with their thoughts and ideas, but they won't change who they are just to be liked. They are proud of what makes them different and see the beauty in being different. Everyone's life is different, and they try to find their own way without having to say sorry. 8. They are private, but very flexible and open-minded. Even though Sigma males are often thought to be shy, they have an amazing ability to adjust to any situation. Even though they are quiet and reserved, they are open to trying new things. They are able to move easily between different places and social situations. Sigma men aren't limited in the same ways that other introverts are. They might not be the most outgoing people, but they fit in well with many different groups. Because they are open and flexible, they can learn from any situation, even if it makes them feel bad. They don't shy away from hard conversations or confrontations. Instead, they use these times to learn more about how other people think and feel. Their shyness gives them time to think, which helps them be more flexible and open-minded. Some people might find this trait scary, but it actually makes Sigma men very useful in a wide range of situations. 9. They are fiercely self-reliant and cherish their independence. Sigma men love their freedom more than anything else and work hard to keep it. They don't like being tied down or forced to do something, so they often go out of their way to keep their freedom. Sigmas need to be able to explore, make things, and think in new ways. They don't like it when rules and laws hold them back. They need to be left alone so they can think for themselves and make their own choices. They don't like to go with the flow. Instead, they like to make their own trails and paths. They don't try to be like everyone else, which makes them very different. People sometimes mistake their independence for arrogance or aloofness, but it's just a sign that they're sure of themselves and want to do things their way. 10. They like to work on their own. Sigma males like to work on their own schedules, so they usually work alone. They don't like being told what to do by other people and would rather think, act, and work on their own. This doesn't mean they don't like working with other people, but they are more comfortable when they have room to do their own thing. They don't need constant praise or attention from others. All they need is a challenge and some space to think. They don't mind helping out or working with a team every now and then, but they prefer solo projects where they can work without being interrupted. Sigma males can do great work on their own because they are able to think outside the box and try out different ways of doing things. They don't need to be led. All they need is the chance to explore and try things out on their own. Because of this, Sigma men often start their own businesses. Working alone lets them be creative and follow their passions without being stopped. 11. They are lone wolves but loyal to their inner circle. People often call Sigmas lone wolves because they like to be alone. They don't need to be with a lot of people to feel complete. Sigma men may not be the most outgoing people, but once they trust someone, they are very loyal. They don't need a lot of people in their lives, but the ones they do need are treated well. People in their inner circle know they can count on them when they need help or advice, even if they don't always show it. They put a lot of thought into relationships, and once they've made a connection with someone, it's usually for life. They are very protective of the people they love and will do anything to keep them safe. Even though being a lone wolf can make them seem distant, once you get to know them, they can be very caring and kind people. Sigma men don't need a lot of friends. They just need a few good ones they can count on. 12. They don't like small talk. They don't like normal conversations like "How are you?" or "What did you do last weekend?" Normal people might see these kinds of talks as a way to get to know each other better, but Sigma males find them boring and pointless. Small talk doesn't interest them because it usually doesn't lead anywhere. They don't like shallow conversations and would rather have deep conversations about a variety of topics. They love talking about ideas, not people, and they like talking to people who disagree with them. They don't like talking about gossip, drama, or other unimportant things. Instead, they'd rather talk about important things that will help them grow as people. Sigma men are often very interested in learning, so they want to talk about things that make them think. They can talk for hours about things that interest them and give them ideas. They don't want to be entertained. All they want is to have a good conversation about something important.